Rhea Ripley fans, you are going to want to hear this news. You're going to love this news, in fact, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, I have to talk about this. This is good. This is good because there's been a lot of negativity around Rhea Ripley as of late. Why? Well, she's out with an injury, right? She has a broken orbital bone, which absolutely sucks. So WWE announced this, and people were like, well, is this legit? Is this not? Because fans saw Women's World Champion Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez backstage with a baseball bat on an episode of NXT, implying that they attacked the top WWE star. Ripley was laying next to her car, had a cut on her head with fake blood pouring out of it on the show. And although not confirmed, it's believed the injury happened in a headbutt spot on the October 21st episode of Monday Night Raw. Because of the injury, WWE had to make changes to Crown Jewel, as the former Women's World Champion was slated to work a singles match with Raquel Rodriguez. This comes at a time where Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan has set the world on fire in terms of Monday Night Raw storylines being on the tippy top of what WWE is doing. It's really dominated the women's division on Monday Night Raw in various ways, whether it be no other stars really getting over. I understand that they had Io Sky recently win a match to become the new number one contender. She's going to be feuding with Liv Morgan going forward because Rhea is going to be out for multiple months. But they never had anyone really in the pipeline to either challenge Liv or challenge Rhea should she win the championship, which I believe is going to happen. There's been no other storylines going on of anything of substance, anything of note. And that leads us to right now, because we know that Io Sky is going to be working with Liv, whether that be Survivor Series on November 30th or Saturday night's main event on December 14th, or maybe in the Royal Rumble on February 1st. Rhea Ripley, she's going to be out for multiple months. We know that. Now, PW Insider had an interesting update. They noted that there is still no timetable for Rhea's return. Obviously so. However, the internal hope is that the injury may not be as bad as initially feared, and Ripley has been earmarked for a big role at WrestleMania 40. The company reportedly is crossing their fingers that she will be cleared in time for this show, and we obviously wish her a speedy recovery. So let's break that down in a few different ways. Timetable. Yeah, it's way too early to give a timetable. She could come back sooner. She could go, and have a longer recovery time. We don't know. It's too early to see. They're hoping that it's not going to be as bad as initially feared. That's optimism, right? Maybe she can come back a little bit sooner. Maybe she can be on TV cutting promos, etc. Her being earmarked for a big role at WrestleMania 41 does not surprise me. She's obviously one of their biggest stars in the entire company and not just the women's division. Hoping that she can come back in time for WrestleMania 40 in April in Las Vegas, that's a great sign. I have talked about how before the injury, you can do a trilogy bout between Liv and Rhea, right? So you had your first match, SummerSlam. Liv goes over, outside interference from Dominic Mysterio. That's how she retains the title. It adds a different element to this storyline because it's not just Rhea going out there and trying to get her revenge on Liv. It's not Liv already getting her revenge on Rhea for injuring her a year prior, coming back, injuring Rhea, taking her title, and now taking her man. You also have the fact that they did the mixed tag team match, Bash in Berlin, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley. They went over Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. Pretty good outing. They had a horrendous and god-awful match at Bad Blood. That match sucked. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley 2 sucks. I don't know what happened that night. The fans weren't into it. They weren't doing necessarily the best of jobs of trying to get the fans invested in this. It sucked. You cannot get around it. It just sucked. And you had the weird finish where, while yes, I was a fan that Raquel Rodriguez ran in, got into the match, cost Rhea the match, right? So you had Rhea win by DQ, but she didn't win the title. Originally, it was Raquel supposed to take out Rhea and Liv go over and retain the title, but you had an out for Rhea because she got attacked, right? That didn't happen because the finish got screwed up. Can't do anything about that. So you then look at it and go, okay, this feud it's starting to get a little bit repetitive, right, with their angles and their storylines. They've brought in Raquel for twofolds. One, they brought her in to be the heater, the big, bodyguard-esque type character for Liv Morgan, but it also gives a little bit of time because we're clearly going to a trilogy because clearly WWE wants to put the title on Rhea, right? And so you have a situation in which Rhea was going to go off and she was going to work with Raquel. The only thing that sucks about that is before they could actually get to that match, obviously playing for Crown Jewel, Rhea goes down to an injury. So now you have to go, okay, we want to do the Raquel-Rhea match. We want to do Rhea-Liv 3. We most likely want to have Rhea go over Liv and win back the championship, which sets up future programs for Rhea, and it lets Liv go into another direction. But we've also kept Liv extremely strong during this program. So now you have to go, okay, crap. We have to put all of this down the road, and we have to put someone in position for Liv. And they've done that with Io Sky. Io Sky is the biggest threat to Liv Morgan that you can do right now. And so by doing that, it gives Liv a credible challenger and a real threat because Io Sky she's a pretty notable talent, right? But you also can't have Io beat Liv for the title because you're going to hopefully get Rhea back in a few months. So you have to be very careful with your booking of Io Sky and Liv Morgan. You also have to look at, okay, how do we set up Liv and Rhea? The only thing that makes sense to me, there's two things that make sense to me. There's two ways that they can go about setting up this program. Here's the two ways. One, you could have Rhea just return, want her revenge, go right after Liv. They already have a set-up storyline. You could say, well, Rhea she won their last encounter. She was on her way of winning the title before she got screwed out of it and got attacked by Raquel. She technically owned the W on that night, in that match. Or you could have Rhea return at the Women's Royal Rumble, win that match, and therefore have the championship opportunity of what she wants to do. Women's World Championship, Women's Championship. Obviously, she's going to go and pick the Women's World Championship. She's already on Monday Night Raw. She already has a history with Liv, and then that's how you get to Rhea and Liv into WrestleMania and at WrestleMania 41, and it adds substance. And so then, since Royal Rumble is in February, then you can do Rhea and Raquel at Elimination Chamber in March, right? That's how you kind of set the scene. That's the way I think they'll go about it. We'll see.